So, how many of the stories about Burkina Faso's military leader, Captain Ibrahim Traoré, are actually true? And how many are just online fan fiction? How many? We need to calm down. Yes, you and I, everybody, we need to calm down. You know, we are projecting the hopes and aspirations of a whole continent onto one man. Someone will cry. And we keep those dreams alive by inventing fairy tales. But in doing that, are we not lying to ourselves? Think about it. First, we had Wakanda from the Black Panther, and now we have a new country called Bukinaverse, far away from reality. Honestly, I almost believed some of the stories about the 3 military boys who took over in Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger. It was wonderful while it lasted. I almost believed that they are turning the Sahel region of Africa into the new African Tigers. Yes, I almost believed it. I almost believed that Captain Ibrahim Traoré learned English overnight. Yes, I thought, well, maybe like Tinubu, suddenly learning French, that he had his reasons. Oh no. But then his soldiers too started speaking fluent English. And now you are pushing it. You are using AI to push us off the cliff. That's what I started feeling. I mean, I can suspend disbelief and accept that Tinubu speaks French to Emmanuel Macron and his wife. Bonjour. But to have him return from Paris one day, addressing Nigerian soldiers and ministers in French? Come on. No be Nollywood with a watch. Come on. Still, I suspended disbelief until I stumbled on this ultimate fairy tale that General Tchiani of Niger Republic renegotiated mining contracts and now makes over $300 billion a year. Yes, billion, as in with B, yes. Yeah, that's what I read. I will tell you the details when we come back. Stay with me. Our own former African Union ambassador to the US, Dr. Arikana. You know her? Yeah. Dr. Arikana even gave that tale some wings. Watch her.
French companies that were mining the uranium were paying the government 80 cents a kilo for the uranium, and then turning around and selling the uranium to the rest of the world at 200 euros a kilo. To say we are now going to take ownership of our own uranium. They went from realizing about $1 billion in uranium resources to over 300 billion a year.
Yes, she said that the junta in Niger renegotiated uranium contract from 80 cents a kilo to $200 a kilo. And boom, Niger's revenue jumped from $1 billion a year to over 300 billion. Hey! At that point, I paused. I said, no, stop it. Let me tell you what I found out when I checked the actual international market price for uranium, because it has a price. The highest it has been in the last 1 year is $148 a kilo. Today, it's $130 a kilo. If a French or Chinese company is mining uranium at $130 per kilo, do you think they will hand over the full $130 to Niger's government without subtracting production cost and their profit? Do you think so? I beg. Let's make sense. No, let's use our senses. It's like saying because crude oil sells for $90 a barrel, and Nigeria is making $90 per barrel. So since Nigeria pumps 2 million barrels a day, we are cashing out $180 million a day. No, impossibility. Niger, a country of 26 million people with a GDP of $17 billion, is not suddenly pulling in 300 billion a year. If it were, it wouldn't be still ranked among the poorest nations in Africa, and in fact in the world. It will be listed among the G20, not the bottom 20, you know. Their GDP per capita is 630. Yes, that is lower than Nigeria's, which under Tinubu has dropped from about 2,500 under Jonathan to 850. This is our lowest since independence, and it's still going down. But saying that Niger is now making 300 billion, it's like waking up and finding out that your broke uncle now owns half of Tesla and Apple. Don't be fooled. Don't be fooled. If this were even remotely true, it wouldn't be hidden. It would have been headline news in New York Times, BBC, Al Jazeera, even AIT. Yes, even AIT will tell you about it. I'll give you more details. I'll be right back. Also, who even has 300 billion lying around to spend on uranium and lithium? Even the US couldn't afford to outright pay 300 billion to buy Greenland. And that island came with uranium, lithium, glaciers, oil, free Vikings, everything. Everything. Let's get real here, people. Let's think. Trump will not pay 300 billion cash for Canada. And Canada's GDP is 1.7 trillion, the 9th largest in the world. So how is Niger getting 300 billion? Billion. The world's #1 uranium producer is Kazakhstan. In 2024, they mined 23,270 tons. That is about 40% of the global production in the world. But uranium isn't even their biggest export. It's oil and gas. In 2022, Kazakhstan exported about $1.4 billion of uranium to Russia and $1.2 billion to China. And these are their biggest buyers of uranium. So how is Niger, the 7th largest uranium producer in the world, making over 300 billion from uranium alone? How is that possible? Meanwhile, Kazakhstan, with a population of 20 million people, has a GDP of 296 billion and per capita of $14,778. Remind me again, what is Niger's GDP? What is their per capita? Yes, Burkina Faso has seen changes under Traoré. I agree. But let's not pretend that they are building fighter jets to rival F-47, F-48, or F-49. If you hear they are building F-419, believe the number. It is 419 in every sense. Or that they are building commercial planes to knock out Boeing 747 and 777 and 787. They are not launching any Airbus killer next week. No, don't believe that. Now, you don't go from a country that can produce matchbox matches to one manufacturing aircraft carriers. No, overnight. No, it doesn't happen. It does not happen. I don't care who is telling you that. It does not happen. When I come back, I will conclude. I will tell you what's actually happening. Yes, I know it. Even Nigeria tried such abracadabra under Buhari. Remember, we jumped from, we don't produce pencil, we can't even make pencil, to we are going to build drones and helicopters. Yes. We know how that one ended, you know? It ended like the new Nigerian National Airlines, the Nigerian Air. Remember? The Buhari's airline. Now, here is the real issue. We in Africa are so desperate for heroes that we will write fantasy novels than face reality. We want salvation, but we don't want to sweat. So we sit down and tell ourselves stories, bedtime stories, you know, to make us feel happy. But there lies the trouble. It doesn't help us sleep better. They just keep us dreaming when we should be building. Yes. What we are doing is spoon-feeding ourselves fiction. And as the English, those colonizers we like to quote, when it suits us, they once said, and I quote, "A spoon-fed person over time only learns the shape of the spoon, not where the food comes from." Sasha! Tweet that out. Here is my fear. We have learned nothing from the time and the tragedy of Captain Thomas Sankara. Nothing. And history, ignored, has a price tag. When history repeats itself, its price doubles. Yes, I know colonialism messed us up. It did. The things other people did to us Africans are many. But the things we Africans did to ourselves are more. So I ask you again, Africans, who did this to us? Who did this to us? Until next week, I'm Dr. Damages. I diagnose. You yourself. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.